Hi, Analisa Six here with the Lady of Leo shirt and the Sober Curator to bring you the October 2024 horoscope for the zodiac sign of Taurus for sun and rising placements. I'm recording these at night. I apologize for the poor lighting. It's like either going to be too bright or too dark, and I lean more into the darkness. So I'm going to do that. We're going to try to keep these short. And by we, I mean me. I'm not good at keeping things short. I'm also going to pull a tarot card from the new Rockstar Tarot deck by Mary De Lorenzo Woods. I am a huge fan of this deck. I was lucky enough to get to read tarot. I got to read the deck at the Whiskey A Go Go for opening or the launch opening night. I don't know. That's not what I mean. I mean the release of this deck, and I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's so great. So I figured I would plug it in here. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. So we are in Libra season. The area of the horoscope that Libra hits for you, Taurus, is the area that has to do with your relationship to your health and your daily routine. So Libra season is a really good time for you to get serious about the way that you structure out your time, how you're of service in the work that you're doing, your relationship to your health. All of that stuff is a big theme right now since we have not just the sun here, but also Mercury here for the first 2 weeks. It's October 12th, the day that I'm recording this. So Mercury is about to enter Scorpio. I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm just going to kind of run through where we start the month out. Venus is in Scorpio, which is hitting in your seventh house. That's the house of relationship and partnership. When Venus is passing through this area, it's actually really auspicious and positive. So this is a great time for you to lean into relationships, whether that's romantic, business related, or even just best friendships or any kind of connection. There's a leg on my video. My dog's coughing. This is going to be probably annoying to watch, but you can hear me. So I guess that's good. The other transit that we have going on for all of October is Mars passing through the cardinal water sign of Cancer. And this is hitting the area of your horoscope that has to do with communication. So this is happening in the third house of your chart. Mars in Cancer in the third house can be emotionally reactive. It can also take things personally and be very sensitive when it comes to how it's communicating. So this is a time where you have to work extra hard on how you are when it comes to being vulnerable. Taurus is the sign that's most known for stonewalling. And so if you're not familiar with stonewalling or what that is, it usually is a trait of somebody that has a hard time communicating, where instead of being vulnerable or having open, free-flowing communication, you shut down and are not responsive. Like you create kind of like a wall or a barrier. And Taurus does have kind of like a stereotype of being more prone to that in its nature, because it's the bull, it's fixed earth, it's, trying to kind of keep things together. And so Taurus energy is sometimes associated with stonewalling. Mars in Cancer is kind of like trying to let the floodgates open, but it can be really intense and really reactive. And so part of the lesson, I think, for you in this month of October with Venus, especially in Scorpio in your seventh house, is learning how to communicate your feelings more effectively, learning how to be honest, learning how to not take things personally, not be so emotionally reactive, and also learning how to not stonewall. So how do you balance being vulnerable and emotional while keeping it all together still? It's not all or nothing. It's not I either bottle it up and stonewall or I'm a shit show mess. There's definitely a middle ground to be learned. And October, you might be in the back and forth of trying to find that middle ground. October 2nd, we had a solar eclipse in Libra at 10 degrees, I believe, of Libra. And the area of the chart that this was hitting for you is that sixth house that has to do with your daily routine, your health, wellness. So those are big themes for you starting out the month. And because it was a solar eclipse, this is a theme for you over the coming months during eclipse season. It's definitely wrapping up for you in this area of the chart because the ecliptic is leaving the 6th, 12th house axis and moving into your 11th, 5th house axis. But there is still kind of a need for you to focus on your health and wellness and how you're balancing out your day It looks like you're needing to have more life work balance focus, and also what you're giving and pouring into relationships through work is a theme. Early on after the solar eclipse in the month, Jupiter stations retrograde at 21 degrees, about around the 9th. And Jupiter stationing retrograde is happening in your second house of finances. And so this is an area where you've already had Jupiter here for a bit, and retrograde, it's giving you an opportunity to rethink how you're managing your money. So that's something that you're going to be kind of working through for the rest of the month, money management and just kind of how you're spending. Jupiter here tends to lean towards the overspending. So you might be needing to reflect on how you're relating to your finances and whether or not you need to pull things together more. If you're not overspending, this could just be you reflecting on how you want to use your money. Maybe you're reflecting on different ways that you want to manage finances and material stability, that kind of stuff. This could have to do with maybe even like some of the investments that you have, if that's something that you're thinking about. After Jupiter stations retrograde, the next shift of energy that we're going to have is Mercury entering Scorpio around the 13th. And the area of the chart that this is hitting for you is that house that has to do with relationships and partnerships. So Mercury here gives us an opportunity to really work through things, talk things out. Again, we're talking about how this is a time where your feelings come up and you're learning how to talk more effectively. Mercury in Scorpio, though, can be really reactive and emotional. And so, again, having Mars, which is the ruler of Scorpio, in your third house, influencing Mercury, which is the ruler of the third house. It's a lot of communication stuff. You're definitely going to be up against some difficult communication dynamics. It's just going to be how the month goes for you. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Shortly after that, we do have a full moon at 24 degrees of Aries hitting on October 17th. Now, the Aries full moon is going to be hitting in your 12th house, and the 12th house has to do with the subconscious and karmic things from the past. And also hidden things. So anything this is kind of like intuitively what it feels like to me looking at this chart, especially if we think of Mars, where it's hitting as the ruler of this moon for you. Anything that your ego is still very invested in and invested in holding on to that really isn't serving your identity moving forward, this full moon is pushing it out. It's very much like it's time to let go of this perception of self that you're so indignant on holding on to that's really not serving you anymore. So, that's unique to you. I can't tell you what that means. Like, there might be some vision that you had of yourself for a long time, and maybe here's an example, I guess. Our 20s, usually there's like kind of a way that we related to life in that decade. And by the time we move into our 30s, it's like maybe we're still trying to relate to certain aspects of ourselves during that time, especially if maybe we didn't accomplish things back then that we were hoping to accomplish. But, there's just like we're forced into shedding that. Like, we don't have a choice. We're not in that decade anymore. I think that happens for us, every couple of years, every 5 years, maybe, where we're in a place of kind of having to shed a new layer of self. And I'm just using 20s as like something arbitrary as an example. It could be really anything. It could be an artistic expression of self that you used to have, and maybe you're moving into a new territory, which is really common with, musicians or artists, where it's like, oh, I have this sound and now I'm moving into this sound, or even like an artistic style, if you're changing or evolving. It could be something, that's deeper and more emotionally, like it could be a belief system or structure. Like maybe in the past you really identified with one belief system and now that's changing and it just doesn't serve you anymore to identify with maybe this other version of yourself. So that's a theme around the full moon. After the full moon hits, we're going to have Venus entering Sagittarius a couple days later. And Venus in Sagittarius, I personally really like this energy. It's very wanderlust, freedom seeking, time to get out of the mundane and explore new versions of the self. The area that this is hitting for the Taurus horoscope is the 8th house. This is the house that rules marriage, sex, death, rebirth. It rules shared assets, taxes, loans, debts, all of those things. And Venus passing through here can be very auspicious. It might be a little bit reckless too, in the sense that it wants freedom in all of these areas. But it can be good for a sex life. If you're dating, it can be really fun in terms of exploring a new relationship. If you're thinking of doing different things with your money, this could also be a very exciting time. So that's going to be happening for the rest of October. And then October 22nd, we're going to have the sun moving into Scorpio. Scorpio season starts, and that's highlighted in your 7th house of relationship. The sun in Scorpio is opposite Taurus. Scorpio energy and Taurus energy are the opposing forces. And so for some people, if you have both Scorpio and Taurus in your chart, this might not feel too discombobulating. But if you're mostly on the Taurus side and you don't have a lot of Scorpio going on, sometimes being pulled into that opposing force can feel uncomfortable. So Taurus is all about fixed earth, material, connections to things that stay the same, comfort zones. We want things to feel stable and secure in Taurus. Scorpio is burn it all down, transform, transmute, move forward, change is imminent. And so when we're experiencing Scorpio energy, sometimes it can be a lot when we're trying to hold on to some sense of stability. But, Scorpio is here to teach us that sometimes letting go and moving on, moving through things is really healthy and healing. It's nice to have certain things that anchor us, but, everything's temporary. And so Taurus, we value the beauty. And when things are a certain way for a while, we can value a season, and be like, this is really beautiful right now. And then Scorpio comes through to, transmute it and change it. So you're in that polarity, and that's happening in your relationship area of your chart. So change in relationships, transformation in relationships, working on heavy stuff and, sexy stuff too. Scorpio is a very sexy sign. It's not all heavy here. It can also be really fun and adventurous too. All right, I'm going to pull a card for you, Taurus, and we will see who comes up, what rock star is coming up for you for October. 9 of Pentacles. This is a Virgo card. It's got Madonna on it. And the 9 of Pentacles is a card that has to do with having gratitude for everything that you have in your life right now and really embracing the fruits of your labor. So that's your advice for October. If you want a bigger breakdown on the actual transits for the month, I go over each one in the October astrology forecast video. You can find me at theladyofleosure.com and thesobercurator.com. If you would like to book a one-on-one session with me, you can email me at Analisa Six at ladyofleosure.com. All right, you guys, I'll see you next month.